Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
We would like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet runs now through March 30th with high-quality action throughout, including the Florida Derby on Saturday, March 29th. Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. I'm Seth Merrow. A little bit later on, we're trying to make contact with Jermery Plonk, talk a little countdown to the Crown, kick off the countdown to the Crown season. As we took our first steps, and we'll hit on some of the stakes action from last week, the first three-year-old stakes weekend, which I thought was pretty good. And so we'll get some of Jeremy's thoughts there, and who he's currently looking at his top 20 list. You can get the countdown to the Crown every Friday. Jeremy puts out a new edition, and it's nice. There's the top 20 previews of three-year-old stakes races coming up, reviews from the previous week of stakes races. And this time of year, he also looks at interesting maiden breakers and some interesting allowance races as well. So again, we hope to have Jeremy shortly. And then a little bit later on, Jason Beem from Tampa Bay Downs. Speaking of three-year-olds, they have the Pass Go today. So we'll talk about that and a couple other nice stakes on the card down at Tampa this afternoon. So looking forward to that as well. Let me just alert you as to what is coming up with regard to promos and whatnot. Today is a Fan Appreciation Day at Uncle Sam Lane's in Troy. If you're a patron out in that direction, we would love to have you stop by this afternoon. Say hello, give us our chance to say thank you to you. As always on a Fan Appreciation Day, food, PPs, a contest where you get a chance to win a little extra something, and they're always fun. So if you're in the area, stop by Uncle Sam Lane's this afternoon. Fan Appreciation Day. If you're heading to the Clubhouse Racebook today, or maybe we will attract you to come down, there's a $100 knockout challenge. That's this afternoon right here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Same spot that you can swing by tomorrow for some football action as the season and postseason ramps up. You can watch football right here. 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Grab a little lunch over at our food vendor, Black Bear, and as I say, have some fun as well. There is today, let me alert you, $22,000 pick six carryover at Aqueduct. So it was a 5 for 6 payoff yesterday at Aqueduct, and I'm just looking here. Wound it up with an $8 horse, the $35 horse, Moonlit Drive. Probably threw a little monkey wrench into some of the plans. 13, 7, 5 is a face. So it wasn't crazy, but it wasn't hit. So a $22,000 pick six carryover today at Aqueduct. Speaking of promotions and pick bets and whatnot, yesterday, it's frustrating when you win and you're still kind of pulling your hair out, whatever hair I have left. We had the Pick 5 bankroll yesterday promotion and selected the team of 10, and everybody in the team of 10, congratulations, you walked away with a little free money, but it should have been much better. Sitting in here, boom, 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 got through all the leg. Oh, and there was a bonus as well. The first leg, there was a dead heat, and we had used both of the dead heat horses. So we're alive going forward with 2 tickets. And then subsequently hit the second leg, hit the third leg, hit the fourth leg, and going into the last leg, I don't know whether I have the PPs here. I know vaguely what it was. 2 of the horses, since we had 2 tickets alive, 2 of the horses we were going to get 800, and one of them we were closer to maybe 1,700. So they were all nice payoffs. Subsequently, one of ours wins, and given the will pays that came up on the screen, expecting about $890, and then the payoff comes up and it's $390, which is still, everybody got some free money, almost $40 for everybody on the team. But it was less than half of what the will paid. And I was scratching my head. Well, we were having kind of a meeting in here at that point, here in the studio. And so I was just kind of half attending. And then when the race came on, watched, and we were all kind of rooting, and the horse scored, and we knew we had a winning ticket. But I didn't realize there was a late scratch. And the late scratch horse took some money, certainly. What was popular on the tote board, let me put it that way, so certainly took some money into the pick 4. So when that one scratched, all of those people went to the post-time favorite, which wound up to be the winner. So that it's like the worst case scenario. That then leads to the going from the will pay payoff to the actual payoff being less than half. It's just, but again, congratulations to the team. Everybody wound up with some free money, about $40. But it could have been much, much better. So it was a little bit frustrating, certainly, on that account. All right, and I'm just checking again. We are trying to make contact with Jermery Plonk, and we will continue to do that. Otherwise, I'll take a quick break and kind of sort things out. And so if we don't get Jeremy, we can maybe shift gears here a little bit. But we will continue to try to make contact and talk, as I say, a little countdown to the crown with Jermery Plonk, hopefully after this. So stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back. Yeah, still trying Jermery Plonk. If we get him, we'll plug him in. usually he's right there. So I'm not sure what the situation is, but we will keep trying. And in the meantime, just to alert you to some of the stakes action coming up today. Again, we'll be joined a little bit later on by Jason Beem. Nice stakes down at Tampa today, highlighted by the Pasco, but it's also the Gasparilla, the Wayward Lass. So we'll hit on those stakes in a little bit with Jason Beem. But also at Aqueduct today, race number 2 is the ladies. If I'm not mistaken, this is one of the older stakes races on the calendar. Used to be a little more prominent as far as prestige. It's an ungraded stakes now, and there's only a field of 5 in here today. But Julia Shining, the sibling to Malathat, is in. I went with Tizzy in the Sky. Again, it's a reduced field of 5, so it's hard to get the juices flowing. Tizzy in the Sky is the 4 to 5 morning line favorite. Julia Shining is 2 to 1. Julia Shining had a funny career. With the breeding, started out with a lot of promise and lived up to it. You know, won early and ran well early, but the buyer numbers just have never been super impressive. But it's had a nice little career. Again, sibling to Malathat, owned by Stone Street, trained by Todd Pletcher. Dylan Davis is on board today, taking a little break from Florida, where he's been going very well. So Julia Shining, certainly interesting. But again, I went with Tizzy in the Sky, also trained by Todd Pletcher, coming out of a win early in December in the Go for Wand. Kendrick Carmouche on board, who, now that the winter season is kicked off, Kendrick is going very well in New York. Keep your eyes on him. And I've mentioned the 2 Canadian transplants. They're going to be interesting. Savachi and Sofia Vivas. I have a feeling they'll both have decent winter meets. And so far, their starts have been okay, haven't been spectacular or anything, but it's always tough to, you know, get in and make connections with new barns and things, but keep your eyes on those 2 during the winter season as well. But in the ladies at Aqueduct, again, I'm 1-5-3 with Tizzy in the Sky on top out of the Go for Wand win last time. Julia Shining will be interesting. Evidencius in the 3rd slot, won the Turnback Alarm 2-back, and then went down to Laurel and ran 3rd in a stake last time for Christophe Clement. But if you're looking for an alternative that might add some value, that one could be a little bit interesting as well. So ladies is, again, race 2 at Aqueduct today. A couple of stakes down at Gulfstream this afternoon, and again, we will feature this action this afternoon on OTB Live. But the 5th race today, the Gulfstream Park 5th is the Sunshine Million, the Sunshine Philly and Mayor Turf. A mile on the grass. I used Great Venezuela on top. The Victor Barbosa runner comes in with a 4-race win streak, has won 6 of 8 overall. Now, seems to be perhaps a little more of a sprinter, but I wouldn't rule out being able to go very well stretching to the mile today. I don't know on that question if you want too short of a price, 8 to 5 on the morning line, and I have a feeling we will go shorter than that. But again, that's the judgment call that has to be made. Ashima, I think, can be a player. This one, a generous 8 to 1 on the morning line, also brings in a win streak of 3, maybe against a little bit lesser company, but I think is very playable off the recent good form. And Mary Quite Contrary, interesting runner throughout the career, over $700,000 in the bank, 20 starts, 7 wins, 5 seconds, 3/3. Has never tried the turf before. Last couple of races were on the synthetic. They were a mixed bag, 2-back okay, last time not so much. So we'll see what Mary Quite Contrary does this afternoon on the grass. But again, it's a horse that so far in the career has put together a nice little record. So I don't think that one should be ignored this afternoon. Also, the Sunshine Classic, state breds going like the Sunshine Philly Mare Turf. Again, these are state bred races. But the Sunshine Classic, mile and a 16th for Florida bred 4-year-olds and up. For me, put the 4 on top. Secret Chat goes out for Victor Barbosa off, again, a little bit of a win streak, won the last couple of races. 7 furlongs, 2 back, a mile last time. Now gets to a 2-turn race. And I'm just looking, had 1 2-turn race on the resume. It was a 4th place finish, but it was the Lexington last year at Keeneland. So, you know, they obviously had a little ambition for this horse as a 3-year-old. Didn't quite live up to it, had an abbreviated season, but now undefeated since coming back late in the 4-year-old season. Now, late in the 3-year-old season. Had that layoff from Keeneland, Lexington in April until November. So the last couple of races in the 3-year-old season off that layoff, a couple of wins, I think can kick off the 4-year-old season. Similarly, awesome train in the 2nd spot. 10-1 on the morning line for Antonio Sano, who hit a career milestone, I think it was 1,000. He hit a career milestone earlier this week or right at the end of last week. But regardless, we've had him on the show before. Nice guy and a good trainer, and has this one in good form. Again, class-wise, this may be a little saltier, but I think in the good form, that one fits. And if you get the morning line, becomes very playable. And then I went outside to Big Martini. Now the big question mark here, Rohan Creighton trainee. Nice little stakes winner over at Tampa last time. I think is a solid fit in here, and I think is very logical. But a mile and 16th, hung out in the 12 post. Going to be up against it a little bit there. We'll see if Raylu Gutierrez can manage to get some kind of a trip out of that one. And yeah, I didn't want to leave it out because I think the horse does fit, but I couldn't put it up any higher on the outside post position because, again, that will be a little bit of a struggle, certainly. Excuse me for checking. Okay. We'll take a quick break. Jeremy sent me a text, so we'll hop on board with him hopefully after the break. Stay tuned. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. In front, but here comes Hot Chaparral. Hot Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a 3-horse photo finish in the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back. Yes, we're happy to be joined now by Jermery Plonk. A little phone trouble there. We have all had it with the technology, but we have made connection now and happy to do so because I said last Sunday morning when I went over some of the Saturday stakes action, we're on the road now. We're on the road. The first steps were taken last Saturday on the road to the Triple Crown, and Countdown to the Crown, the great package Jeremy does every Triple Crown season, is underway. You can catch it every Friday. If you go to Jeremy's Twitter page, you can also link to various things as well. His Substack, his podcast with Jeff Siegel, which is a lot of fun to listen to as well. But Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning. It's good to be with you. It's the pressure of going on before Jason Beem, I think. You know, that's a lot of pressure. He's so good on these. But no, I apologize for the phone issues. I think I was in sleep mode or something like that on my phone. So that's what you get for trying to get an old guy on a cell phone.
Well, I'm in sleep mode most of the time, just myself. So, all right, let's jump. Oh, before I do it, just talk a little bit about Countdown to the Crown, and she's I read this is the 20th year. That's incredible, and it's been fun checking in with you during the season for a while now, going back. So just talk a little bit about where people can find it, and what day of the week it's updated, and hit on a little bit your podcast as well.
Sure. Yeah, Countdown to the Crown is published every Friday. It's usually out by late morning East Coast time. You can go to countdowntothecrown.com, or you can go to Substack, where it'll be sent to you directly to your email. Jermery Plonk, my name, .substack.com, and then you can sign up for free there, and it's sent out free each week through Substack, so you get it to your email inbox. Plus, I also include other handicapping information throughout the week and throughout the year on that Substack, so that's a good way to follow everything. And, of course, on Twitter, @HorsePlayerNow, you can follow me there, and I usually link things up through there. So a lot of different ways to check it out. The 20th season that we've done it. It's unapologetically for a serious horse fan. I call it a scouting report. It's not, it's not a thumbnail. You'll see it's 6-7 pages every single week, and we've written, I believe, 1.1 or 1.2 million words over the 20 years. So there's a lot to it. But again, this is a labor of love. I love doing it. And we try to categorize it so it's big and it's bulky, but if you're just in there to kind of fish for a couple different things, I think it's organized in a way that you can get what you want out of it, right? You can get in and get out if you just want to see who the top 20 are, if you want to see who the allowance races are this weekend or the stakes races, if you just want to read the recaps, or if you want to look at the stakes previews and picks. They're all kind of organized in a way that if you only wanted to read 400 words, you could get away with it. But we want you to dive in and take the whole thing in each week.
Yeah, and
that's for the podcast. Jeff and I do 2 podcasts each week. We do one on Tuesday called It's Official, where where we recap the weekend of racing and kind of the big topics in racing. And then our Friday podcast, typically each week. We didn't do one this week because of the wildfires in Southern California. Jeff didn't have power this week, but thankfully his home was safe, and he was safe after relocating and evacuating. So good news there. But we didn't do our Friday podcast first call, which we usually do stakes handicapping. So you can check those both out at the Horse Player Now YouTube page.
Yeah, and I sit home at night and handicap usually in front of my computer, and you're one of the podcasts I have going on while I'm doing handicapping. There's a small handful, and regularly watch you guys, and so I highly recommend it. And as you say, there's a lot on the countdown. Your top 20, previews, reviews of 3-year-old action, and your 3 things you won't read anywhere else. And this week you made a great point. This time of year, pay attention, and as you wrote it, I don't know whether you were writing earlier this week or late this week, but Oaklawn canceled over the weekend, and as you say, pay attention to tracks that may have some weather issues and horses that may miss workout time coming into important preps, and I think that was a great point you made there. All right, let's jump into some of the action. Just have a few minutes here, but did want to hit on some of the interesting performances from last week, some horses that hit your top 20, and this one I think hit a lot of people's top 20. They hit a lot of people's top 2 or 3 probably. We're going to go back to the San Vicente last weekend, and Barnes is going to be very impressive here. Barnes is going to be the number 2 horse. Nice winner for Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert's 14th win in the San Vicente. Barnes comes up with a 94 buyer figure. What were your impressions? I see you have him number 2 now on your top 20.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical because of the hype and the trip to Churchill where, he got in some trouble and he had to work hard to win. This was a much, much better performance. Second start, that's what you want to see. Yeah. A lot of good horses get beat in their first start, right? I mean, American Pharoah lost his first and then went on to, just steamroll everybody. Barnes almost lost that debut, but this was just so much better the second time professional. He looks like the goods. They paid $3.1 million for a reason. The question with him, though, is if you go back and look at his pedigree, the third dam is Dream Supreme, and your New Yorker fans will know this one. She was one of the best 7-furlong sprinters I've ever seen. Will he go 2 turns? That's going to be the question. But Baffert has a way of getting 2 turns with these. We've seen it over the years. Barnes looks like a good one. I think he'll probably stay home at Santa Anita and not be one who hits the road. He's already traveled once to Churchill. So I don't think, I think he'll be the one who stays home. And Baffert's got upwards of 6-7 potential prospects right now in January. So he's going to have to start separating and shipping at some point.
Yeah, big performances, as I say, generated a lot of buzz, certainly on social media and whatnot. And so we shall see as Bob Baffert returns to Churchill Downs and the Kentucky Derby this year. And speaking of Bob Baffert, he had another winner this week that attracted a lot of attention. Second career start for Rodriguez. We'll take a look. This is a maiden race, but this attracted a lot of attention. Rodriguez is going to be the number 1 horse here. Got a solid 94 buyer immediately after the race, but then I guess it was based kind of later in the day on maybe Miramati and his numbers. They adjusted the number. The buyer now 101 for this performance. Yeah. Your thoughts on Rodriguez?
Oh, he looks smashing. And a lot of times you'll see that on one of these undercard days where there's an undercard horse who might impress you as much as a horse in the big stakes race. And look, he was just visually impressive in this particular race. The splits were solid all the way through, and he ran faster than Miramati. As you mentioned, Miramati's going to be one of the favorites towards the Santa Anita Handicap coming up in a month's time. This was a big effort. The runner-up Bays at the half to Mage and Dornock. He beat a good horse in here, and he beat him very easily. This is a horse to keep an eye on. Rodriguez is going to be serious, and he looks almost, he's by authentic, and he's a half-brother to One Liner, a horse who won the Southwest a couple years ago, ran in Pimlico Special, ran second in that race. So I think he'll get a distance. I think Rodriguez may be built for distance better maybe than even Barnes, but we will see in terms of, which one of these horses has more talent down the road. But Rodriguez definitely want to keep an eye on.
Clearly impressed you. He's sitting at number 6 on your top 20. And going to be interesting to see how some of these lightly raced horses do. I think the next future pool is next week. Be interested to see what attracts attention, including, and we just have about a minute left here, but I did want to look at John Hancock. I handicapped Tampa earlier this week and looked at this race. And I like Madhouse, who runs a very good second at 22-1, but I love Vacoma runners. So I landed on Madhouse, had John Hancock right underneath. By constitution, firster from Brad Cox, but it will be number 2, John Hancock, getting it done. And again, he bumps into your list at number 12 on your top 20, so clearly you were impressed.
Yeah, this is, half-brother to Speech, a horse who, for Michael McCarthy, won the Ashland, third in the Kentucky Oaks. Brad Cox doesn't send him over to Tampa. I went back and looked in the BetMix database. Yeah. First time since 2019 he ran a horse there. So this was really visually nice. This horse looks like he's got a future. And I think that trip to Tampa was for purpose. He just didn't show up there, to try to find a spot. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a horse that Brad's going to have to separate his horses around the country. He wants to have one maybe for the Tampa Pass. WinStar's run horses in Tampa Bay Derby a lot over the years. Elliott Walton even going back to his training career. So would not be surprised if this is Brad Cox's horse to go through the Tampa Pass, and he looks like a good one. Remember this, Seth. Horses who won the Kentucky Derby, the last 3 winners of the Kentucky Derby, were 1 for 4 combined on this date. They 1 for 4 and 1 for 3 between the last 2 winners, and then Mage hadn't even started yet at this point. So just having a maiden win in tow right now isn't so bad. I mean, if you look at the last 3 Derby winners, none of them had more than that at this stage in their 3-year-old careers.
Yeah, very interesting. And that's part of the fun of picking up Countdown to the Crown. A lot of those little tidbits, and I like the historical tidbits you throw in, mainly because I say it all the time. The Triple Crown, the 3-year-old season is our season. It's a real season. The 2-year-olds to me are the preseason. Then you get to January 1st and your kind of regular season until maybe middle of March or early March, and from there until late April is your postseason, and then you go into the championship events. And so every year it's pretty similar. So I think the historical trends are interesting to check out. And as I say, you can check some of that out. Countdown to the Crown every Friday. Jeremy, appreciate the visit. And, of course, we'll be checking in during the Triple Crown season plenty of times.
All right. Well, next time I'll have my phone set. So good luck to Jason on his call today, and enjoy the rest of the show, everybody.
Jeremy, appreciate it. Jermery Plonk, Countdown to the Crown, and more. We'll take a break. When we come back, Jason Beem from Tampa Bay Downs. 3 nice stakes on the card today. We'll look at those. Stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resorts Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. Seth Merrow in the studio, joined now by our friend Jason Beem from Tampa Bay Downs. I always say it's one of my favorite tracks, although I haven't been there in way too long. I used to be kind of a regular down there. My dad was retired down in Bradenton, and so I would go down and visit him a couple of times in winter and pop up to Tampa Bay. Really enjoy it. One of my favorite tracks all year long. I love the wintertime, love Tampa, and I love Oaklawn as well. And with a nice stakes day, I thought we'd reach out to Jason. Good morning.
How we doing, Seth? It's a little chilly here by Florida standards, but we're doing all right. We should be fast and firm, and there's no scratches in the stakes so far, so that's good too.
Oh, excellent. And I'll talk over on the East Coast as well, occasionally with Brian Nadeau, and we talk with Ron Nicoletti and whatnot. And you guys are all. Yeah, it's a little chilly down here. It's only like 60, 62. It's snowing and 20 up here, so boo-hoo down there. We live vicariously watching you guys.
Well, I told a friend of mine, I said, I'll hear more complaints about the weather here this week than I will from any of my friends in Kentucky who are in 2 feet of snow. And it's true, like you get acclimated down here, so when it gets down into the 40s or 50s, like it's freezing.
Yeah, I always say, one of my favorite stories, like I say, I used to go down and visit all the time when my dad was alive and lived down there. It'd be January. I'm on the beach. It's like 65, 66 maybe. I'm on the beach, T-shirt, swimsuit. The natives are walking by in parkas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's funny because I'm from Seattle, so I was used to cold weather. And when I got here, I thought I was dying from the heat. Like anytime, the humidity was awful. I was 100 pounds heavier, too, so that probably made a difference. But, like, now I've completely become a local in that sense. Like I went back to Seattle for a little while. I was cold the whole time.
We'll get to the stakes in a minute. I wanted to touch on one thing. Oh, first of all, again, if you visit Jason's Twitter page, he will link. He does nice write-ups every week. He has a podcast during the week. Oh, and I'll mention you had a good article this week of things you'd like to see go away. And run-ups, I'm with you. I don't get the whole. And I was going to say I think maybe the industry is going that way. Some tracks have kind of made that move to do away with the run-up, but it's hard to figure out why that ever became a thing.
I try. My test on that is I try to explain to somebody who doesn't know much about racing, and like they look at you like you're an insane person. You're like, well, if it's a mile race, just run a mile.
Yeah.
You know, we had some races in Colonial last summer where the run-up was damn near 16th of a mile, and it just seems crazy, especially if like a mile and 8 race.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then you also tossed in the term penultimate, and I had to laugh when I did, because I throw that in every once in a while, and I do it kind of tongue in cheek, but I don't know other people get it because it is a thing. So I will throw that in myself every once. And finally, before we get to the races. Whenever I have a guest on, I go and I'll look at their social media and whatnot. And I was looking at your Instagram page, and I know a while ago, I don't remember how long ago it was, but following social media, I remember you had a painting of a fire truck that you did it like one of those sip and paint kind of.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was assuming that was like your foray, your entry into paint. That's what I thought. And now you're good. The Barney Fife thing was great.
No, it was funny. I went on a first date to one of those paint and sip places, and there was no second date, but I was adamant about, like, the painting was really fun. And so, I bought a little set the next day, and subsequently I took a class and I watch a million YouTube videos on how to do it. I've kind of switched to oils from acrylics where I started, but it's been a very, very fun hobby. You know, I don't, you move somewhere new, you don't know a ton of people, so you kind of got to entertain yourself for a lot of the time. And that's been my alone time hobby here.
Well, I applaud you. The painting was very, particularly because, as I said, I think that was maybe within the last couple of years or so, and you're good. Yeah, nice job.
I appreciate it. Yeah, probably been 2 years, I think.
Yeah, all right. Let's jump into the stakes action. And again, give us a little update on the weather again.
Yeah, it's cold, as I said. No, it's just kind of overcast. I don't think it's supposed to rain, but I don't want to jinx us with that. There is a pretty steady headwind for the runners down the backstretch, but we're still 2 hours from post time. But, you know, that might be something to take note of in terms of early fractions versus late. And these 2-year-olds that are now 3-year-olds, I guess, going 7 furlongs, you know, if they get going at it pretty hot into a pretty stiff breeze, it could be a little bit change of things as the race goes on.
Interesting. All right, the Pasco kicks things off, and we were talking earlier in the show about, you know, we're now making the first steps along the Triple Crown Trail for 3-year-olds as the calendar turned on January 1st, and had a nice set of 3-year-old stakes races last weekend, all of which were kind of interesting, and the Pasco adds to that. Field of 6 schedule. Clearly, Owen Almighty is going to take a lot of action for Brian Lynch. Comes out of a second in the Iroquois, 2-back, won the Juvenile at Ellis Park. I pulled up a replay, and we're going to watch a maiden special event, Belmont at the Big A. It'll be #1 rookie card getting it done for Danny Gargan. This was the 3rd start of the career, seemed to benefit from the experience and kind of pulls away and opens things up. I will say I find Naughty Rascal very interesting for Gerald Bennett. How did you see the Pasco?
I loved Naughty Rascal. I thought his effort in the inaugural was very good. Donut God was kind of just cruising up front, and Naughty Rascal was in behind horse a little bit early, kind of split runners going to the turn, but he was just in chase mode the whole time. And by the end, he was kind of getting to Donut God. I know Donut God was geared down, but I don't know. I just thought it was a visually pretty, not impressive, but I thought it was maybe a little better than it looked. And I just thought he looked like a nice horse, and I think Donut God was a good horse.
And it'll be interesting to see how it breaks out odds-wise, because Ono Almighty, as I say, is certainly going to take action. I think rookie card may get some action as well. And 5-2 on the morning line, Naughty Rascal, who on the morning line is shorter than rookie card. I'm going to be interested to see how that shakes out, because I'm with you. Naughty Rascal is interesting. And Gerald Bennett, anything he sends out down there is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the IRAD factor in terms of the odds is pretty significant. It seems like when he goes to quote-unquote smaller tracks, like the money follows him even more than it does at the big track. When he comes to Colonial, it's like he's odds on almost every race. And so, you know, I'm sure that a lot of money will follow that horse. I've just seen too many horses that have, you know, been off for the winter and come back at 3 that were good at 2, just get so overbet and they get beat so often that it's just hard to take super short prices. If Owen Almighty takes a step forward and he wins and he's great, then great for them, but not for me at 3 or 5 or 4 to 5.
Great point about IRAD. He's in town, and he will clearly, you get the IRAD tax, he will take money, no question about it. He's also on board, one of the favorites in the Gasparilla. This one for 3-year-old fillies going 7 furlongs, and I pulled up a replay of the IRAD horse. He's going to be on Mrs. Worldwide for Brian Lynch. This is the Sandpiper from earlier at the Tampa meet. Miss Worldwide is the #4 horse here, and it looks good. There are a couple others in here. I think if they can get up and throw in a best effort, win and you're in. On the outside is, in fact, the morning line favorite for Carlos David, and could be a little bit of a player. Coming out of the 3rd in the Sandpiper, Dancing Magic, I think, is intriguing. But how did you see the Gasparilla?
Yeah, I went back and watched that replay of the Sandpiper the other night, and Mrs. Worldwide was very good, but Dancing Magic, I kept trying to want to make an excuse, but really I think Mrs. Worldwide was just fast with it the entire way around. And so I'm a little bit against Dancing Magic. I thought Lynn's Milky Way was an interesting addition. I love that Jose Ferrer's getting on board. He's had a really good start to the season here. I think he's 20% for the meet. And, he's got pushing 60 years old at this point. He might be over it at this point. But he's a total speed rider. And I look for Lynn's Milky Way to kind of send here. And who knows? Maybe at a price it could be a little bit dangerous. I don't think there's that much in behind. I mean, winning you're in has some major question marks after that last one. A lot of people are going to say the distance, but, I don't know. I thought maybe try to be a little contrarian here. Lynn's Milky Way was interesting. I thought it was a speed candidate.
Yeah, winning you're in. To me, it does look like a distance situation, but you're right. You just never know on one race. You have to put two together to find out, and that means we won't know until after it's done, so we'll see how that plays. All right, and finally, let's take a look at the Wayward Lass. This one for Fillies and Mares, going 8.5 furlongs. I'm going to play around a little bit in here with a price. I have American Retro on top. Literate in the second spot for me. Throw through Penoir in the mix as well, who I think is interestingly named, coming out of the damn beehive hairdo. So I guess looking at a 60s type of a theme there, perhaps. But again, I pulled up a replay, maiden special weight event, Churchill Downs last June. So this is going back a ways for American Retro. But it was at 7 furlongs. It was a solid maiden breaker. Horse has been on the turf the past few starts. Ian Wilkes is having a nice past few weeks, and this one comes in off a nice workout at Palmetto. So I'm taking a little shot with American Retro, but how did you see the Wayward Lass?
Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble with this race. Marty Drexler's a trainer up in Woodbine who I know just knocked him dead up there. And we don't see him run down here very often. We haven't this year at least. And I thought Literate was maybe a little bit interesting. The only race on dirt was like a year ago. It was, it was just a long time ago. This horse seems to have been a much different horse since moving to Marty's barn and since turning 5 years old. So I thought maybe an interesting one. Land Sammy Camacho, who I think Sammy's up 1 right now over Samuel Marin. So our perennial leading jockey, Sammy Camacho, getting on board. I thought it was a little bit interesting and what might be a little bit of a price.
All right. I've got those in the mix, so I'll play around a little bit myself with perhaps a little exacta box kind of a play. Jason, appreciate it. And, you mentioned Marty Drexler doesn't start too much at Tampa. How about Brad Cox showing up the other day with John Hancock? We just talked about that earlier in the show. And I have a feeling, now that he has a bunch of horses over on the east coast of Florida, I have a feeling you'll see a little more of him over at Tampa this year.
Yeah, that horse was pretty impressive. I thought he got a pretty nice speed figure and was geared down and all that. But, Brad Cox horses tend to be pretty good because they're from the best horses. Yeah. And so, I heard about our racing day with somebody who talked to him in the offseason, and he said he was planning on taking a few over. He had an AE yesterday, and so I know they said he ran 2 in 2019, but other than that, he's 1 for 3 here.
Yeah, I think I read he had a couple of starters, and they both ran 3rd, and so I would expect a little turnaround this season. We'll see how it works out, but it was a nice start with John Hancock the other day. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Let you get back to work as you have scratches and changes and whatnot coming up. Again, enjoy the product you guys put out down there. Pass along my thoughts to everybody, and good luck on the afternoon, and we'll talk again.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right. Jason Beem from Tampa. Again, really nice stakes card down there today, stepping along the 3-year-old scene with the Pasco and more. All right, let me take one more break. With the first post time at NYRA today, I was expecting them to come up just about this time with the pregame show, but I'm looking at the monitor up there, and they're not doing that yet. So I'll take a break. I'll come back, and we'll wind up the show momentarily, but stay tuned.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. We hit on some of the stakes action today in New York with the ladies. They have the Sunshine 2 stakes races down at Gulfstream, corresponding out in Southern California, Cal Cup Derby and some California Cup races. And they also have Sunshine Millions filly and mare turf sprint. So there's some stakes action out in Southern California. They are scheduled to be back in action at Santa Anita. With the fire situation and the air quality, they didn't race yesterday, and it, it's still very early out there. I haven't seen anything. I looked early, so it was really early when I looked, but I haven't seen any update. I hadn't seen anything when I went on earlier about any change because they were planning to run today. But again, with that kind of fluid situation with the fires out there, that stands the possibility of changing, but check, because they're planning to run today out at Santa Anita. And again, they have some stakes action. Have the 3 stakes down at Tampa as well. Oaklawn has the Pippin. So some nice stakes action today. We'll be covering much of it on OTB Live a little bit later this afternoon. We'll kick that off. First race at Aqueduct is 12:10. And as they say, I'm surprised the 12:10 post time this winter. They've typically been kicking off their pregame show at about 10:40, 10:45, because they usually do it an hour and a half before post time. So I'm wondering if maybe for some reason they're not having one, or maybe it's just a little bit of a later start. But again, I'm looking up at the monitor here, which has a number of the tracks on it, and Naira is not in. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect timing. They're now going to the logo and what I assume will be the pregame. So I will wrap it up. Before I do that, I will once again remind you that today's the Fan Appreciation Day, Uncle Sam Lanes in Troy. If you're a patron there, stop on by so we can say thank you to you. There'll be food, there'll be PPs, there's a contest. Fan Appreciation Day, always a lot of fun. This afternoon, Uncle Sam Lanes in Troy. Today here at the Clubhouse Racebook, $100 Knockout Challenge. We'd love to have you stop on by and join us for some extra fun. Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Same spot again, some football tomorrow, playoffs, have some fun, watch some football, maybe grab a little lunch at Black Bear. Right here, Clubhouse Racebook. Racing and football on Sundays, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. How about the college playoff games? The Thursday night game was fabulous with Notre Dame. I always hate to, when I'm not rooting for a team, I hate to see a game get won or lost on a bad play, so I kind of felt bad for the quarterback that threw the interception at the end of the game. But it was a good game Thursday night. And interesting game last night as well, and I think it's going to make for a fun college championship. So looking forward to that. All right, I'm going to wrap it up because they're kind of kicking things off in New York. I'll be back noontime or so a little over an hour to ramp it up for OTB Live for Saturday afternoon. Looking forward to it. And again, bankroll team. Ooh, everybody walked away with some money yesterday. And, nice, just under $40 for everybody on the team. Free money from Capital OTB. But it could have been much better. It was just like I say, the worst possible situation with a horse that was taking a lot of money, becoming a late scratch. All of that then gets transferred to the favorite, which was the horse we had that won. So it went from an $890 will pay to a $390 actual pay. So I was like, oh, that's what this game does. Even when you win, you're kind of cursing at the sky. But again, it was a little bit of free money for everybody. So congratulations to the bankroll team. keep checking out the promotions page. We will keep announcing the promotions, but check out the page on the website for upcoming events and contests and bankrolls and whatnot, because you can wind up with a little extra something, courtesy of Capital OTB. But now let's send it to Naira. They're hitting on scratches and changes. Stay tuned. I'll be back in about an hour with OTB Live. We would like to thank Gulfstream Park for their sponsorship of this program and some of the other programming and events here at Capital OTB. Gulfstream Park's championship meet runs now through March 30th with high-quality action throughout, including the Florida Derby on Saturday, March 29th.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.
Jockey change on the 6th.